3 sessions into therapy for burnout, Kosuke thought nothing could surprise him anymore.
Your brother was my patient.
Itsuki, my brother was her patient?
For 2 long years, Kosuke had searched for his missing older brother in silence. Itsuki had cut off the family and vanished without a single word, and now his therapist was staring at him like she'd seen a ghost from her past. 2 weeks earlier, Kosuke had walked into this very office, hoping to fix his crushing burnout. He never imagined his brother's name would resurface during a session about his own exhaustion. The only proof Itsuki ever existed was a faded photograph tucked in his wallet. But soon, the therapist would open a file that would shatter everything he thought he knew about his brother. 2 weeks earlier, Kosuke was drowning in a sea of overtime and fluorescent lights, barely sleeping, barely eating.
I can't keep doing this. Every morning feels like a weight pressing down on my chest.
His manager had called him indispensable again, which meant 60-hour weeks, no weekends, and a permanent ache behind his eyes.
I need help, real help, before I collapse entirely.
He spent the night scrolling through therapist profiles, the pile of work reports on his desk completely ignored. One profile caught his eye, Naomi Saito, a gentle-looking woman in her 30s, specializing in occupational burnout.
Maybe this is the one. I'll book a session. What do I have to lose?
He filled out the intake form, hands trembling slightly, and scheduled a Wednesday morning, the earliest they had available.
It's just a meeting. I can always cancel if it feels pointless.
2 days later, he stood outside the therapy office, palms already damp, heart pounding against his ribs. The door opened, and a woman with soft violet hair looked up from her desk with a calm, practiced smile.
Kosuke, please come in and have a seat. I am Naomi Saito.
She seems steady, not the type to judge. Maybe this won't be so bad.
I've reviewed your intake form. You mentioned work burnout and trouble sleeping. Can you tell me more about what brings you here?
I can't switch off. Even when I'm home, my mind keeps racing with deadlines. I feel like I am drowning in work that never ends.
That sounds incredibly overwhelming. It's common to feel that way when the boundaries between work and rest disappear. You are not alone in this.
For the first time in months, Kosuke felt the tiniest loosening of the knot in his chest.
I'd like to ask a few more background questions, just to understand your situation better. Is that all right?
She asked about his work history, his daily habits, and at the end, quietly wrote down his full name without any reaction. When the session ended, Kosuke walked out with a tiny, fragile thing he hadn't possessed in years, a sliver of hope. A week later, Kosuke returned to the warm office. He still felt guarded, but the knot in his chest had loosened just enough to talk.
How has this week been, Kosuke? Did you notice any moments when the pressure felt most intense?
Every time I submit a report, I know it's good, but I can't stop rewriting it. I am terrified of making a single mistake.
That perfectionism can be exhausting. Sometimes it's rooted in things we learned much earlier. Can I ask about your family?
There's not much to tell. I grew up pretty normal. Just the usual stuff.
Naomi caught the shift, the suddenly flat tone, the way his shoulders pulled inward. She made a note and let it pass. Later, alone in the office, she opened his intake file again. Her eyes drifted over his full name, and a faint, prickling unease settled in her stomach.
That surname. Why does it feel like I've written it down before? Something about it is wrong.
The nagging familiarity faded before she could catch it. But the seed had been planted, and it would not stay dormant for long. In the next session, Naomi would ask a simple question about his brother, and the careful walls Kosuke had built would start to crack. Kosuke arrived for his 3rd session to find Naomi waiting with a strange intensity in her eyes, as if she'd been turning something over all week.
Kosuke, last session you seemed hesitant when I asked about your family. I wonder if you'd like to talk more about that today.
It's about my older brother, Itsuki. He vanished 2 years ago. No warning, no goodbye. I've been searching for him ever since.
The name sliced through Naomi's professional calm. Itsuki, the missing patient who had vanished from her care 2 years before.
Itsuki, the same surname, the same gentle eyes. This is his brother, the one he always talked about.
All the pieces she'd filed away under a closed case clicked into place with horrible, impossible clarity.
Kosuke, I'm sorry. I need to end our session a few minutes early. Something came up that I have to handle.
What? Did I say something wrong?
Naomi forced a professional mask, but the tremor in her voice and the paleness of her face gave her away completely. Kosuke walked out with a cold dread coiling in his stomach. He had no idea what had just happened, but he knew something had irrevocably shifted. After Kosuke left, Naomi locked the door and pulled out a file she hadn't touched in 2 years.
Itsuki. He came to me desperate, then vanished. And now his brother sits on my couch carrying the same pain.
Confidentiality bound her. She couldn't reveal anything. Itsuki confided, not the fear, not the sacrifice.
If I break that trust, I betray my profession. But silence means watching him suffer the same guilt Itsuki tried to spare him from.
Across the city, Kosuke sat in his dark apartment, that session replaying like a broken tape.
She knew something about Itsuki. She looked at me like a ghost. What did she know?
He pulled out the worn photograph, 2 boys in a sunlit park, a lifetime ago.
Itsuki, if you are out there, was it my fault? Please, I need to know.
In the photo, the older boy looked protective, as if he'd already decided to carry every burden for the smaller one. That night, neither of them slept. One haunted by a brother's ghost, the other trapped by a patient's secret. The next session, Kosuke walked in with jaw tight and eyes hard. He wasn't here for burnout anymore.
Last session, you reacted like you'd seen a ghost when I said Itsuki's name. You know something about him.
I can't discuss other patients, Kosuke. Even if I wanted to, I'm bound by strict ethical obligations.
You're not denying it. I've spent 2 years searching. If you know why he vanished, you have to tell me.
What I can do is help you process the grief and guilt. Sometimes closure comes from understanding your own feelings first.
What feeling? That I should have seen it coming, that I was a burden he needed to escape. I've replayed every memory.
It's common to feel responsible after an estrangement, but you might be missing a piece of the story he could never tell you. Then
give me that piece. Please, I'm drowning here.
I can't. Not now. But I promise you this. Everything he did out of love. Not one decision was because you weren't enough.
The session ended with Kosuke silent, but something in his chest had loosened. Not the guilt, but the certainty that he was alone in it. In the weeks that followed, therapy became a space where Kosuke could finally speak Itsuki's name without flinching.
He used to walk me to school every morning. Even when it meant he'd get scolded for being late, he always let me have the last melon bread. He said, "Brothers look out for each other."
What about the day he left? Can you walk me through what you remember?
He said he'd be back from the store. 2 days later, his room was empty. I didn't even notice.
If you could talk to him now, without any barriers, what would you want to tell him?
I am sorry I didn't stop him. I am sorry I waited years to search. Please be alive.
After the session, Naomi pulled Itsuki's file once more, heavy with unspoken history. Tucked inside the file was a sealed envelope, handwritten on the front, "To my brother, if he ever comes looking."
He left this for Kosuke specifically. If I deliver it ethically, perhaps I can truly help them both.
Naomi spent the next 3 days consulting with an ethics board, carefully wording the situation without breaking confidentiality.
The letter belongs to Kosuke. Itsuki left it for him, not for me to keep. There is a way to do this right.
Meanwhile, Kosuke felt his search cooling into despair. Every lead had dried up, and the sessions only reminded him of the brother he'd never truly know.
What if he's already gone? What if the only answer I get is a death certificate?
Naomi placed the sealed envelope in a plain folder, her hands steady but heart heavy with the weight of what she was about to set in motion.
This letter might be the only kindness Itsuki could give him. I won't let it sit in a file forever.
She knew the next session would change everything, but she also knew it was the only ethical path forward. Kosuke hadn't slept well in days. The photograph of them as children felt heavier each time he looked at it.
I can't keep waiting for ghosts.
As Kosuke lay, staring at the ceiling, Naomi set the folder aside for their next appointment, knowing the truth was about to surface at last. Kosuke stepped into the office and knew immediately something was different. Naomi held a plain folder, her expression soft but unsteady.
Kosuke, I can't share your brother's records, but there is something Itsuki left specifically for you.
She slid the folder across the table. Inside, the worn envelope with handwriting Kosuke would recognize anywhere.
Itsuki wrote this for me?
Kosuke picked up the envelope with trembling hands. The paper felt heavier than it should, thick with 2 years of silence.
All this time, he left me something. He didn't just vanish, he left a part of himself here.
It's yours. Take all the time you need. You don't have to open it here.
Kosuke nodded, unable to speak. He clutched the letter to his chest, as if it might dissolve if he let go. The session ended in silence. Kosuke walked out with the unopened letter pressed to his heartbeat. Fear and hope warring in his throat. On the street, he stared at Itsuki's handwriting. The last proof that his brother had been here and had thought of him until the end, alone in his apartment. Kosuke tore open the seal with shaking fingers, heart thudding against his ribs. Itsuki's voice poured out from the page, every word a wound and a balm. Kosuke, if you are reading this, I am sorry. I couldn't say goodbye.
His breath caught. Itsuki had always been the one to carry everything in silence.
Dad owes an impossible amount of money. The people he borrowed from weren't just dangerous, they were targeting anyone connected to him. The words hit Kosuke like a physical blow. All this time, he had blamed himself for not being enough. I couldn't let them touch you, so I made myself the target. I vanished to make sure they'd follow me instead.
He didn't abandon me. He became the shield I never knew existed.
If you come looking, check this post office box. Box 712 in the city of Yuzawa. I'll leave word there if I can. Kosuke pressed the letter to his forehead, tears dripping onto the ink. Guilt dissolved into fierce, urgent purpose. He would find his brother, no matter what it cost. He grabbed his keys, the address memorized, the photograph in his pocket. The next day, Kosuke walked back into the therapy office, the letter still trembling in his hands, his eyes holding a clarity they'd lacked for years.
I read it. He didn't leave because he wanted to. He was protecting me from Dad's debt.
That must have shaken you. How are you feeling now?
Angry at first, but now I just feel focused. I have to find him.
I want to support that, but you need to stay safe. These people sound dangerous.
The letter gave me a post office box. Box 712 in Yuzawa. That's my starting point.
Naomi warned him to process his emotions before charging ahead, but she also promised to help him plan safely.
I'll be careful, but I can't wait any longer. 2 years is enough.
Together, they mapped out his next steps. The post office, the transit, and what to do if he encountered threats. Kosuke left with a photocopy of the letter, a small bag packed, and a photograph worn from looking. The search had officially begun. Kosuke boarded the earliest train to Yuzawa, the photograph of Itsuki tucked in his shirt pocket, a lifeline he refused to let go.
Excuse me, I am looking for information about box 712. It belonged to my brother.
The clerk hesitated, then slid a small change of address card across the counter. Itsuki had been there and moved a few months ago.
This address, a rental in the old district. He's been here all along, staying one step ahead of whoever was chasing him.
The building was modest, a 5-story walk-up with peeling paint and a single lit window on the second floor. Kosuke stood rooted to the pavement, staring at the door numbered 204. Every instinct screamed to run up, but fear nailed him in place. He took a breath and dialed Naomi. The phone rang twice before her calm voice steadied him.
Naomi, I found the building. He might be inside, but what if he's not? Or worse, what if he doesn't want to see me?
Kosuke, he left that letter for you. He wanted you to find him. That's not the action of someone who doesn't want to see you.
Kosuke slipped the phone back into his pocket and took one step forward, then another. The door waited. Kosuke stood in the dim hallway, the flickering bulb above door 204 casting long shadows.
What if he slams the door? What if he hates me for not searching sooner?
The rational fears crashed against the older terror that Itsuki might not be alive at all.
But Naomi said he wanted me to find him. He left that letter for me.
Her voice cut through the static. He breathed deep, steadying his heart.
I can't let fear win. 2 years of silence ends now.
Kosuke raised a trembling fist to the door, the chipped paint inches from his knuckles. He held it there for 3 full seconds, the longest of his life. Then, with all the weight of 2 years, he knocked. 3 sharp raps echoed through the hallway, and then he waited, every nerve on fire, for the door to open. The door swung open, and there stood Itsuki, gaunt, shadowed, but undeniably alive.
Kosuke, how did you find me? You weren't supposed to get involved in this.
The letter. Itsuki, you left me a letter with Naomi. I've been searching for 2 years.
He collapsed into his brother's arms, 2 years of guilt and grief breaking loose.
I am so sorry. I never wanted you to think I abandoned you. I was just trying to keep you safe from those men.
I know. The debt. Dad's creditors. You became a target so I wouldn't.
The creditor was arrested 6 months ago. The debt was declared illegal. I was about to come find you.
Kosuke's legs gave out. He sank to the floor, sobbing, not from pain, but from a relief so profound it hurt.
It's over. We can start again. Together.
They knelt on the worn carpet as evening light filled the tiny apartment, the silence finally holding no fear. An hour later, they sat across from each other at the rickety table. Itsuki finally began to speak.
I found a pro bono lawyer. We gathered evidence that the loan was predatory and the threats were criminal.
It took over a year to build the case, but in the end, the debt was ruled illegal.
The creditor was arrested 6 months ago. Once the case was sealed, I was finally free to reach out.
All this time, he was fighting alone, while I was just drowning in guilt.
Kosuke's eyes glistened, but this time, the tears carried no shame, only release.
Naomi. She kept that letter safe for me. I don't know how to repay her.
Naomi. She gave me back my brother without ever breaking her vow.
The weight of 2 years lifted slowly, replaced by a raw, unfamiliar hope. Kosuke reached across the table and gripped Itsuki's hand. For the first time, they were no longer running. They talked late into the night, filling the hollowed-out spaces between 17 and 29.
I heard about Dad. The hospital. I wanted to come back then, but I was still being watched.
You don't have to apologize. You gave up everything so I could have a life.
When the first gray light touched the window, Kosuke finally slept on a borrowed futon, his brother's quiet breathing the only lullaby he needed. The next morning, he stepped outside and dialed Naomi before his courage faded.
Naomi, I found him. He's alive. It was exactly like the letter said. He was protecting me the whole time.
Kosuke, I'm so relieved. I've been thinking about you non-stop.
A pause stretched between them, full of everything they couldn't say.
When you are back, let's have a session. There are some things we need to discuss about the future of your therapy.
Kosuke heard the unspoken promise in her careful tone that their relationship would have to change before it could become anything else. When Kosuke returned to the office a week later, the air felt heavier, but somehow gentler. Naomi sat with a sealed envelope beside her. No notepad in sight.
Kosuke, what we've navigated together goes beyond standard therapy. The lines have blurred. For both our protection, I am referring you to Dr. Tanaka.
I knew this was coming, but the ache in my chest still caught me off guard.
Dr. Tanaka is excellent. He'll handle your burnout treatment and I trust him completely.
Kosuke nodded, his jaw tight. swallowing the ache of a goodbye he wasn't ready for.
This isn't goodbye forever. Just goodbye for now. When the time is right, we'll see what comes next.
They shook hands at the door. Her fingers lingered a fraction too long, a silent promise neither dared voice. Kosuke walked out lighter, yet emptier. The door left slightly ajar between his past and whatever future might come. Several months later, Kosuke's burnout had quieted under Dr. Tanaka's care, but a corner of his heart still held Naomi's steady gaze. In a quiet bookstore aisle, his hand reached for the same spine as hers, and their fingers touched.
Kosuke, I am so sorry. I didn't expect to see you here.
Naomi, it's really good to see you. You look happy.
I've thought about you, Kosuke. Since you are no longer my patient, maybe we could talk more.
She still makes my heart race. It's terrifying, but I don't want to run anymore. I'd really like that. Could we start with coffee? There's a place around the corner.
Coffee sounds perfect. Tomorrow, I am free at 3.
They stood a moment longer, the bookstore suddenly feeling smaller, the silence filled with a new kind of possibility. And so, over a simple cup of coffee, the next chapter began. This time without walls between them, the coffee dates grew into long walks and quiet dinners where they shared everything they'd held back during therapy.
For the first time in years, I actually look forward to waking up. You did that, Naomi.
And I never expected to find someone who understands why my notebooks are color-coded.
When Kosuke introduced Itsuki to Naomi, the air grew heavy with gratitude. Itsuki bowed, his shoulders shaking.
Dr. Saito, you kept that letter, and you gave my brother back to me. I owe you everything.
Itsuki, I just kept a promise. Seeing you both together is all the thanks I need.
6 months later, Kosuke led Naomi to the park where he and Itsuki played as children, the old photograph in his pocket.
Naomi, you pulled me out of the dark when I couldn't see a way forward. Let me stay by your side. Always.
Naomi's hands flew to her mouth, tears streaming as she nodded, laughing, and he slipped the ring onto her finger. The past, with all its wounds, had become the foundation for a future neither had dared to imagine. The wedding was small, just close friends, fairy lights, and a quiet garden that seemed to breathe with them. When Itsuki rose to give the toast, the room fell into a hushed, grateful silence.
2 years ago, I thought I'd lost him forever. But Naomi gave him back to me. And now, standing here, I see that even in darkness, love finds a way. You both fought through the kind of pain that breaks most people, and you came out whole. To Kosuke and Naomi, may your future hold all the joy you were denied.
The room erupted in soft applause and quiet tears. Kosuke and Naomi's eyes never left each other, their hands intertwined. The new rings catching the golden light. They kissed as if sealing a promise that had been whispered in a therapist's office long ago. And in the front row, Itsuki laughed, the sound free and unburdened for the first time in years. Evening settled over the garden, and Kosuke and Naomi sat alone on a wooden bench, the celebration still humming behind them. Naomi leaned her head on his shoulder, her indigo eyes reflecting the last fairy lights.
A year ago, I was drowning in paperwork, and then I walked into your office.
And I almost ended the session early because I couldn't breathe.
They laughed softly, the memory no longer aching, just a tender scar. She slipped her hand into his, the gold band warm against her skin.
Who would have thought a therapy session could fix a family?
Inside, Itsuki paused by the gift table, a framed photo of the three of them catching his eye. In the picture, they were all smiling, a family reassembled after a long storm, and under the quieting sky, Kosuke held Naomi's hand and knew they had truly come home.